Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network, live from our Tommy John home studios. I am Chad Millman. We are sweating the end of this Bears game live along with you. The Bears on the 1 yard line, down by 5. Caleb Williams, out of bounds, DJ Moore. We got this game. It's one of our 5 picks. This is our Sunday night episode. We're reviewing the Faves 5 picks we put into the contest. We're going to dissect why we left some games out. We're going to preview the early lines we already like for week 9. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my companion, my compadre, my BFF professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Chad. What a good day, brother.
Dude, it's been a great day. It'll be even better as soon as the Bears score, as long as they can. Touchdown! The fact they did not give the ball to an offensive lineman backfield for the first time all season makes me feel like they did that on purpose just so they could have so little time left on the clock. The Bears take a 1-point lead pending what I imagine will be. What's that?
Damn, we needed that.
We needed that. It's not over yet, obviously. There's still time left on the clock, but boy, the Bears, we're going to get to it. We are going to get to it. This has been a sweat of a game, and I freaking love this team. I love this team so much. I love their moxie on defense. They never, ever quit. They're going for the 2-point conversion right now. There are 23 seconds left in the game. Oh, nice shovel pass for the 2-point conversion. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my freaking goodness. Simon, I'm not going to lie. This has been a glorious day. We're 4-0 on the day. We got the Cowboys left tonight at
Not yet.
5.5.
Damn it, Chad.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. I can't believe you just did that.
I cannot believe I just did that.
Oh man. I will say, before we came on, you were dead inside for a second there. That offensive lineman killed Chad. People don't realize, before we come on, we're on here for 15 minutes. Chad almost curled up into a little ball in the corner there.
I did. I actually had to put all of you guys on mute because normally we're watching, then sweating the end of these games. And someone is always ahead and someone is always behind.
It's true.
Someone was talking and I'm like, I cannot listen to any of this fucking drivel right now. I'm putting everybody on mute. I don't want to know what's happening. It was excruciating when that guy fumbled that ball. We're going to get into it. I will tell you this. There were multiple times today when I was watching the Jacksonville Jaguars where I was feeling disrespected, ignored, as the kids like to say, as though you were not hearing me today. Specifically, I felt like that at halftime of the Jags game. I felt like that at around 4 p.m. of the Jags game. I felt that way again at about 4:09 p.m. Eastern. I will explain what I mean in a moment. Catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. As a reminder, The Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. And now, new Bet365 customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code FAVORITES, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. We are still sweating this game. We got 18 seconds left. It's 2nd and 10. So as I keep this game on out of the corner of my vision, I will explain to people. When you and I were making the final picks today, we originally made our picks on Thursday. We had the Bears minus 2.5. By Sunday morning, with the news that Jaden Daniels would play for Washington, the line was Bears plus a half point. Obviously, we couldn't keep the Bears in as 2.5-point favorites, but we also had the Lions at minus 11.5 on Thursday. I loved it. On Sunday morning, it was 12.5. I still loved it. You still liked it. So we had to decide, Jaden Daniels scrambling around, throwing across the field. Someone catches it for a first down, and they got a timeout. So now it's 5 seconds left. They got 5 seconds left. On Sunday morning, the Lions line was 12 and a half. We had to decide, were we going to resubmit for the contest when we had to accept all new lines? So if we want to get the Bears minus plus a half, we got to also take the Lions minus 12 and a half. We had to decide if we wanted to go with the Lions as massive faves. We decided to take them out. Instead, we put in the Browns plus 7.5, which we both loved. Then we had Cleveland, Bears, Jags, Colts, Cowboys, all dogs, which we don't like either. Simon said to me, which game would you take out? What did I say to you?
Jags.
I hated the Jags all week. Of all the dogs that we had,
Yeah.
it's the one we had been losing most often. It is the coaching mismatch, the QB mismatch, a team that doesn't have anything at an elite level anywhere in its units. Like the Browns definitely do. The Colts definitely do. Like this was a bad matchup for us. We've been talking about it all week. But you loved it. Kerner loved it on Convince Me. I hated it. I have not made a single bet on that game. That's what I said. Hold on. Last play of the game. Jaden Daniels is back. He's scrambling. The Bears are rushing. Someone's holding a guy. He's still scrambling. What's going to happen? He's going to throw it. Just throw it already. He's throwing it up. Did someone catch it? Oh my God. He made it all
Oh
the way.
my God.
You're a mush.
I
Oh, poor Chad.
this I how is this possible?
Are they saying it's good? It's a catch?
Yeah. How the fuck did this just happen?
You know why it happened. You've gambled long enough. You count your eggs
It
before
just
they
slipped
hatch.
out. It just slipped out.
I know. As soon as you did it, though, we knew what was going to happen. It's a cruel game, my friend. So, want to start from the top again for our 3-1 week?
We're now 3-1. You laughed at me when I said I wanted it. I cannot believe this.
I can't either. It hurts.
How did this happen? Well, they couldn't knock it down. It went right off his hands.
No, it's brutal.
That is excruciating. I got to turn that off. I can't watch that right now. I can't watch those anymore. Oh my God. Anyway, you said about the Jags and the Lions, you feel more strongly about the Jags. If it loses, I'll own it. It's great for the show. Here we
Yeah, it's
are.
just,
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, it's the classic thing of trusting the number. It doesn't always work out for me, but this week, trust the number on this game, trust the number on the Raiders game. They come through. I know they're 1-16 coming into this week, but it's just I told you we just had bad luck, bad bounces, and that's gambling. Like it's just part of it, and I don't overreact to it. And ideally we want to have favorites in, but you're tough to get on favorites. Like I liked Atlanta. You never got around on Atlanta, which I get. It's never fun taking these chalk favorites. So
I love
my
Detroit. Detroit had 90% of the tickets there.
agree. We both agree. We both liked it. At the end of the day, I think even the Chicago one, I never would have taken this one out. I like the number. I like that Daniels was banged up. I didn't think they'd be good offensively. The only one I really thought we would take out, honestly, was the Cowboys, just because of them getting all the guys back from injury. But once we got all those crazy stats about McCarthy off buys, this is actually not that bad of a match for them. We were kind of stuck there. So I agree. I think it was sucks we didn't have Detroit in there because we loved it all week. We bet it all week. And that was, like you said, I felt what you felt, but the other way. Like they had, I think it was 41-10, and Goff had like 28 yards passing.
He
And it
only
was
had
just
85 yards
like,
passing in the whole game.
right. But
But he
I'm
also
just
had
saying,
three
like, giving you
touchdowns.
flowers where it was like, that was a no-brainer that you talked about all week that I also liked. And it was just like, we've been messing up taking those ones out. It's like, how did we not leave that one in? So luckily, yeah, you're right. Got lucky. Jags came down, covered the number. That exactly what I thought was going to happen in that game happened, honestly. Like it came down to the final couple of possessions with the Jaguars, and you talked about it, like this is life betting bad teams. The Jaguars made me pull my hair out like 5 times in that game. They're just brutal between the penalties and the dumb plays by Trevor Lawrence, all of it. But they find their way to these numbers. That's why we always talk about all these key numbers. It landed right on 3. We got the number 3.5. It was a fun bet when you bet those type of games. It lands right on the number.
The public did finally come back down to earth a little bit today.
Yeah.
The Jags covered against the public favorite. The Colts covered against a public favorite. The Cards won against a public favorite. The Pats and the Browns won outright against very big public favorites. Feels like until Jaden Daniels just hit that miracle pass, all was right with the world again. The Jags are just a bad team. They really are. And Trevor Lawrence, he's just not a very good quarterback. Like
He's
eh,
inconsistent. I'd
there,
say
there,
that.
there was a play, 3rd and 8, early in the game. His guy is supposed to run an out. He throws it to the middle of the field, and then he's yelling at the guy for not running an out. But like, why are you yelling? Why are you throwing it to the middle of the field then?
Yeah.
Like, throw it to where you want the guy to be. And then on the very next drive, he throws a pick from deep in his own territory. And this Jags team, by the way, this is like the identity of this team. Bad quarterbacking, bad coaching. They got the pack 4th and 5 for a long field goal. They touched the ball against the center before they snapped the
I
ball.
know.
The pack get a first down. Like, it is just an undisciplined team. At 4 p.m., the Lions were up 52-14. The Jags were down 7 with the ball. I was feeling very unheard, Simon. And at 4:09, the Jags gave up a 51-yard pass to the Packers. The Packers got the ball at the Jags 15. I'm like, they're gonna score a touchdown here. At that point, I was very, very upset because the Lions game was over, 52-14. In the end, it all worked out. This one felt more lucky than a good handicap. It felt like we got lucky playing the number.
You could literally say that every week about every game. Did you get
Well, I was going to
unlucky
bring
with
up
your
another
Bengals
game
bet, Chad? It's
in a
like,
second.
no, that's just how it is every week, brother. I talk about all the time. We need luck. It's like, I can only do so much work at the end of the day. You need things to balance our way. Like, did we get lucky in that game that when Jordan Love went out, they started playing better with their backup quarterback? All of a sudden, Green Bay found an identity when they're just running the ball down the Jaguars' throat. And it was like, I agree with you. That's when I first got nervous. I was like, can't account for this. This throws a wrench into the whole thing. But again, it's just I've done it long enough, brother. You just got to trust the numbers. It's always going to come back around. We've seen it all. We've been around it all. Yeah, that was even that. I mean, we want to get into the Colts game
Well, yeah, let's talk about the Colts because
because
to
that one was
me,
just the same exact thing.
so
Were you
that
not
was like my
dying
my sort
inside
of
with that one
point.
as well?
We can either say that was a really good handicap or we got totally lucky because
But
they
that's what I
played
mean,
it
though. You could say that for every game.
right. They played a near perfect first half. They were tied 10-10. Somehow, with the Colts backed up deep in their own territory, less than a minute left on 3rd and 3, Shane Steichen, who we love because he makes the right call and he's a good play caller, decides to have Anthony Richardson throw it. Of course, it's picked. Of course, the Texans score. Of course, they go up 17. What the freak, Shane Steichen? Like that, you've got Jonathan Taylor and you've got the best run blocking unit in the league, and you are running all over them. You're going into half 10-10 as a 6-point underdog. Why are you throwing the ball deep in your own territory?
And that, I mean, I don't know about you. I thought we were dead after that.
Dead.
Like that, like you're going to halftime now, and your quarterback at that point, I think, was again, Evan had an amazing tweet about it. I think he was 1 for 15 passing or something insane. And that was just a classic 2 of 15. That was the classic thing. I was like, all right, this is where I can't just play the numbers in these spots. Like you were right about that. I got to look more into it. And then of course it comes down and lands right on 3. This type of game that you just bet it that way because Houston it is different without Nico Collins, something we handicapped. And you can run the ball, which we talked about. Jonathan Taylor ran it down their throat. So Anthony Richardson is just a wild card, but this Colts team covers. I mean, they're one of the best covering teams of football this season. On the flip side, Houston is terrible this year against the spread. So It's a classic thing of just trusting the number and the public overreacting to Houston being one of the best teams in football. They're really good. I just don't think they're one of the best teams in football, and that's why we played that number. It's like, okay, if they're a juggernaut like Detroit, they roll that team there. Like that's the type of game you roll in, right? If you're a really good team. And the Houston has just not been that team because they've been unhealthy. They're just losing key guys. I mean, Diggs went down as well.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a great bet though. Like I really thought at then we were gonna win it. Especially when that defender scooped that ball up and took it all the way for a touchdown. It was like, there we go. There's that upset we thought we were gonna get today. But yeah, unfortunately, we needed Richmond to make a drive and he just couldn't do it. And thank God it didn't go to overtime because I knew for a fact we were gonna lose if that went to overtime. So yeah, luckily it just ended on the 3.
The Colts had 165 yards rushing. They averaged 6.3 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor rushed for more than 100 yards in his first game back. That's how they got back into it in the second half. And on one of their most dominant drives, it ended because Anthony Richardson muffed a handoff and then fumbled the ball, and it went so far back they were out of field goal range. Like the more the ball is in his hands, the less of a chance they have. I was like, that fumble that they had between CJ Stroud and Joe Mixon, which was around 2 minutes left, the Colts recover that. If they don't recover that, the Texans kick a field goal. We don't cover that game because it's a 6-point number. And the number for us in the contest was 4.5. We would have won our bets because we bet the Colts at 6.5. But the Colts would not have gotten down the field. And if they did, they were going to have to go for a touchdown. There's no way they're scoring a touchdown. So we would have lost that. And I guess if we believe this was a great handicap, which I do in my heart believe it, I guess we have to believe the Jags was a great handicap. Or
I don't believe I know.
or the games are just finally playing out as they're supposed to play out.
It's just you play the numbers, brother, and you not that you're overthinking stuff a little bit, but you are. You're in your own head. You're just some of your reads are very questionable. That's why I made fun of you about your Bengals because you were all over the Colts. That was a good read. Play that number. You're all over the Browns. That was a good read. Play that number. Instead, you're playing a coin flip game like the Bengals. You love that game, which never made sense all week. So it's like you're just you're making the right reads, but you're also in your head a little bit where you're doing out of characteristic. Like we on this show, we never bet the Bengals in that spot. Like that's just that number was such a stinky number. So I'm with you on a couple of things where it's like we're dodging some bullets, but there's also some games that we're owed, right? We've just had bad luck early in the year with a lot of stuff. And today, the luck, obviously not with the Chicago game, but every other game, the luck, a lot of things bounced our way. So that's just how it is. It all comes back around eventually.
Oh my God, that Bears game. So one more game.
Yeah.
The Browns, Ravens. This one we did nail. Like we loved the Browns all week.
Yeah.
We like their coaching. We like Jameis more than Deshaun. We like the fact they have a dominant defense. We like that the Ravens did what the Ravens do, which is give up a ton of points
Yeah.
in the second half. They gave up 23 points in the second half. Like Ross Tucker, who is one of our buddies, was talking about how all season the Ravens' defensive inefficiencies and deficiencies show up on film for the second half this year. They don't know what they're doing. They're confused too often at the snap of the ball. And then the Ravens won. I didn't expect them to win. What I really expected,
Browns won.
I didn't expect the Browns to win. I expected them to cover. What I really expected was once the Ravens took the lead, was Jameis to throw a pick six,
Yeah.
and us to end up not even covering the game. That's kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah, and it was a great game, and all of a sudden he had that strip sack. They go down and score a touchdown. Lamar does, and it's like
That was in the first half.
oh no. Yeah, it's
and
10-6 now. Hopefully this doesn't turn the tide of this game. And it didn't. Winston came out and just kept throwing it downfield. Like I just it felt so good to have him on the right day. Because when it's
Yes.
going well and he's locked in, it is beautiful. But it is a crazy experience relying on him, especially in that game where we needed him to have that game, right? As good as the Browns defense was, they didn't win that game, right? It was the offense that was able to show up, and it was the first time all season they scored more than 20 points. So, yeah, it's we not that we all knew this was going to happen, but we all knew that number didn't reflect this team. It really reflected Deshaun Watson, how bad he was for the Browns,
Yeah.
and the books they over adjusted to that. Like they didn't realize, or maybe they did, who knows? The public didn't though, right? That was one of the more bet teams this week were the Ravens. Everyone bet them, and we knew there was going to be some big upset today. We got two, right? The Patriots Jets was a huge upset, and this game was also a huge upset.
Yeah, thank God we bet the Browns. That was one we were sort of leaning towards all week.
Yeah, it was just
Um,
got tough because the line moved so much, right? I mean, I bet
yeah,
it 10.5, bet it again at 9.5, bet it again at 8.5. Now we're playing in contest at 7.5. And I was just there, like you just said, we saw how the math could work out that this was going to land on 7 or 8, and it didn't. They rolled them, like you said. That touchdown at the end by Jameis was so incredibly clutch.
yeah, no, that was amazing the way he
Yeah.
played the end of that game. It'll be really interesting to see what we want to do with the Browns next week because,
Yeah.
like we're going to look at that number
Hmm.
in a second. Let's very quickly, very quickly talk about this Bears game. Wow, like their defense until the last play of the game, they were brilliant. Like they
Yeah.
kept this team in the game the whole freaking time. And the fact that look, the Bears offensive play calling was dreadful. If not for DeAndre Swift and if not for Caleb Williams' ability to rush and make 3 or 4 plays, they're not even close to being in that game. And we don't lose a game in a heartbreaking fashion the way that we just did. That was, I can't believe we're still on the air, honestly.
I know. I feel bad making you do this show because I've been there where it's like the last thing you want to do right now is recap. So I guess I'll be the one to do it. But my view of this game was we knew, or I should say, I knew this was going to be a low scoring game. I knew it was going to be tight, but I did think the Bears had a big advantage offensively compared to this Washington defense. And I didn't give enough credit to Washington's defense. They're not, I keep thinking they're much worse than they really are. They're not that bad, right? They're a well coached team. They really knew how to attack Caleb Williams early on in that game. And, we talk all the time about these offenses being in rhythm. The Bears look like a team that had a bye week and just could not get into rhythm. It took them, what, 3 quarters to
Well,
kind
also they
of,
were playing like their left tackle went out, and as soon as he went out,
yeah,
Caleb Williams was basically running for his life the entire game.
he was, but he literally had 30 yards passing midway through the
Terrible.
third quarter.
Yeah.
So it's like, I do want to give him excuse, but at the same time, he also played bad. And we kept saying though we were in it because of what I thought, which was a ton of regression was coming for that Washington offense. We knew the Bears defense was probably the best defense they've played all season. And, did I think it was going to be in the form of them kicking whatever that was, 4 field goals? No, but I knew that there was going to be a lot of regression just offensively, especially with Jaden Daniels playing. He did play. We could have taken them out when we knew he was going to play, and I didn't want to do it because it was just like I still think this is a good spot for this Bears team. It was a good read. And what are you going to do? A Hail Mary pass? I've won a bunch of bets off them.
Yeah.
I've lost bets off them. That's just part of the game. For you, it's the double kick in the gut because it's your favorite team. And that's, it is. Chad knows if he doesn't make the playoffs by one game, there's no other game now. The rest of the year you circle. This is the game. It doesn't matter what happens in any of those other games. It's like you, everyone was in front of the ball. They batted it up in the air and it bounced to the guy in the back of the end zone for a touchdown at the end of the game. And it's a brutal loss. You just said the Bears defense played great. They played great. They didn't give up a single touchdown until there was zeros on the clock. Like that's just a brutal way to lose a game that you dominated the entire game. But um, it's a game that it hurts. We lost money on it, but I'm not going to react to it. I still will keep the same grade I have on the Bears, which is a higher grade than this Washington team. And um, this Washington team is like in the prime position now that even if they don't win this division, it feels like they're going to be a wild card team. Like they're just really fun, exciting team. And even when Daniels is banged up, he still was making big plays, especially running the ball. He's like he's just a fearless kid right now. So, yeah, both sides. The Bears, I'm not concerned, and on Washington, I'm not concerned. And the Bears, this is a turning point for them. Their season from this point forward just gets insanely tough. So, we'll see what kind of leadership Caleb Williams has and the rest of the team does. If this could tank their season, or they can just move on and be a veteran team and get past this. But this is a loss that the wrong team, this could haunt you for the rest of the season.
It
Sorry.
was so terrible. I
Yeah.
don't think we've ever had the experience where we're watching. one of our favorite teams in real time while also seeing them lose on a last second play while also having them in the contest.
No, definitely not that combination. No, it's the worst one ever. I would say, and like again, I've lost, six figures and had to come on this fucking show and talk nonsense. I feel like you're feeling what I feel when I have to do that, where it's just you're not gonna remember anything on the show, what we talked about or anything. This is just throw this whole night away.
Uh yeah, and as you can tell, I'm hacking up a lung and have been getting worse as the day has gone on. But this too shall pass. We're gonna rally by Tuesday. We're going to come back. We're going to go over all of our games. We're going to end this week with a winning week, no matter what happens, because we're now
Yeah.
3-1 on the day. We still have Dallas plus 5.5. We left Detroit on the table. We never got back to Arizona. I feel like we let ourselves get bullied into not taking
We
Kyler
did.
because everyone loved Miami
I'm
and we
glad we
were
didn't take
on.
Miami though. Thank God.
I
Because like
know.
I just held my position because like you said, I already bet Arizona and it was just like, all right, I just won't bet this anymore. It's if everyone loves Miami here and they're looking smart, that's another game. People are looking pretty damn smart for 3 quarters.
Yep.
But we just keep seeing there's some of these teams just can't play 4 quarters, and that's Miami this year, right? You said it before. They didn't deserve that respect. They were getting way too much respect. So you nailed that one. It's just a Miami team that's not last year's Miami team, where if they were at home, they would have rolled that Arizona team. They would have put up 35, 40 points on that Arizona team. And today we saw the difference. They're just inconsistent offensively and defensively. They have no personality.
All right, let's start looking at the week 9 lines. Two or three stood out to me immediately. One of them,
Number one should be the easiest one for you. Thursday night. Did you see Thursday night's line?
no, hold on. Let me
Take
see.
a gander Thursday night. This is one of the fishiest lines I've ever seen. I'm gonna walk right into
Texans,
it.
Texans, Jets.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, I can barely see. I feel like I've just
Houston's -1 right now against the Jets on the road in New York. So Vegas is saying that Houston, they're not
at
gonna win this
home.
on the road. Houston's on the road in at New
No,
York.
no, what they're saying is Houston at home would basically be like almost a touchdown favorite.
I can't believe this line though. Like this is old Simon would have just hopped right on this Jets team. Trust the books here, but I'll take the chalk early here on Houston. I mean that Jets team's in total disarray.
They're terrible.
Yeah, who are they to be under 3 points to a playoff contending team in Houston? I don't care if it's a short week and they just had a tough divisional game. This is a bizarre number by the sports books to hang. And like the early money is coming in on the Jets. Like the professionals are coming on the Jets. I don't get it. So I'll take Houston -1 off the bat.
All right, the game I was looking at,
Yes, sir.
we just talked about Miami. We talked about Buffalo. Buffalo's less than a touchdown favorite at home against
Grab it.
Miami.
Grab it.
Yeah. Tua on the road against a good team. We just saw he could barely finish the game, like not health wise, but they could not close out the game against the Cardinals at home. Tua on the road against good teams in this spot. That's a smash spot for the Bills.
And we broke down the Bills perfectly. We said this game would pretty much tell us exactly what the Bills are and what the Seahawks are. The Bills only beat up on bad teams this year. Guess who was a bad team? The Seahawks. Guess who's also a bad team? Miami. So
Yep.
the
Bet
Bills
it.
are a really good team right now. They're that second tier in the AFC of like a team that could they go on a Super Bowl run if things break their way? Yeah. They have arguably one of the best players in all of football right now, in Josh Allen. Like they have the team there where it's all there. But at the same time, we know their weaknesses, right? They're just they don't have a guy. Like offensively, it is all on Josh Allen. So that makes me nervous about them on third downs. And defensively, there are ways to attack this team. So right now, this Bills team, I think we kind of got dialed in where it's like if they're playing a bad team like this and we're getting under a touchdown, why not take this number? It's only
Yep.
going to go up, right? I just can't see the
Yes.
professionals coming on Miami here.
It's going to go up. Uh, Raiders Bengals. Bengals were a touchdown and a half favorite, which felt odd to me. Again, Apologize. That felt very strange to me. The Bengals, now having been blown out at home, the Raiders are scrappy. They keep covering. I know it's a game we don't like to bet. It's a team we don't like to bet, but the
Mm.
Bengals just aren't very good right now. And the Raiders keep themselves in almost every game.
And the Raiders are up to 8.5. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's a key number. I'll take the Raiders. We were right. Like this being one of our five, unlikely because I really like the Raiders today, and I feel like I got away with one here.
Yeah, we
Like,
did.
yeah. But again, that's trusting the number. It's all about like we talk all the time. We've seen it enough where we've seen it land on 7 and 10 enough where it's like that's the only reason that I didn't really want to give it out was because okay, we already bet it at 10, 10.5. Now it's down to what, 7.5 by kickoff. It just um that was a number that I was never gonna have us put in contest. But uh I mean, we talked about this Bengals team though. They're something's wrong with them. Something's definitely missing, and it's not just the defense. Like I remember we were blaming the defense because they were so bad with this Bengals team, but it's offensive too, right? Like just
Well, without T. Higgins, they're just a different team. We
I
saw it
agree with
today.
that. I agree.
Like when he
But
played, they had more weapons. They had opportunities outside of Jamar Chase, and they could convert. Without T. Higgins, they can't convert.
it's true, but like a lot of their not I'm not here to just shit on the Cincinnati Bengals, but like their wins have been fluky. Like that Giants game, they scored that rushing touchdown off Joe Burrow. They didn't get another touchdown until there was like 5 minutes left in that game against that terrible Giants team. The Browns, if they didn't have that kick return, they probably were going to lose that game or at least only win by a field goal, right? Like they just to me they had a lot of things go right for them against bad teams that kind of helped them have a better record than they should have. Did I think they were going to get blown out and rolled today? No, but you're right. Once T Higgins was out, a little bit of a death sentence for them. That's such a
Yeah.
huge weapon to their offense, like you said. So I'll take the Raiders because it's just the Bengals don't they deserve this respect and they haven't yet to win a home game this season. So they've been absolutely terrible. So I'm with you on that. So that's a way too big of a number. We get it though. The Raiders are horrible. Minshew, it is insane betting on this guy. Like that fumble he had. I don't know if you were watching that game. It's
Yeah.
just the whole Minshew experience. It's a roller coaster.
Who are you looking at?
Just games that jump out to me that I know you're not going to want to bet right now because it's just so gross. But the Giants are plus 3.5 against the Commanders. I get it; they're dead, but Daniel Jones only plays good against one team in his career. It's the Commanders. So it's like, unfortunately, I do have to bet this. No one needs to rush to the book. I'm betting it right now just in case the professionals do come in. Maybe the public will come in. This will keep going up because it was. I mean, they're all cash and check. They all won big today on Washington. That was a really public side. So we'll see if they roll that money over and we get a +4. But I'll take that early number right now. Uh, I maybe I'm just too close to it. I love this Rams team so much. That was my biggest bet this week. I was all in on them. Thank God it came through. They're +1.5 right now at Seattle Seahawks. How do we not jump on that?
Yeah, that was weird to me. Um, I thought they played great. Nothing about it
Mm.
was fluky. I'm talking about the Rams.
Yeah,
You
I mean, that was Stafford's best game of the year
That
by
was
far.
Stafford's best game. He had his weapons. Kyron Williams continues to be amazing. That defense is getting better and better. They play with a lot of energy. Like they really rush the passer. We saw Seattle this week. They were terrible against a good Bills team in bad weather, but they did not adjust. Um, it feels like that's probably the right side to me. I'm not disagreeing.
Okay, cool. And then this is an amazing trend that I mean everyone's seen it online. Evans talked about it too. So basically, teams that face the Lions, Chad,
Yeah.
have yet to cover a game this season. And it makes sense, right? This Detroit Lions team is incredibly physical. They wear these teams out. Um, this week was the Titans. Titans are -3 at home against this Patriots team after that
Yeah.
Patriots team had a huge win. If it's Drake May or Brissett, I feel comfortable taking that +3. Aren't they playing much better than this Titans
Yes.
team, the Patriots? You agree,
Titans are
right?
terrible.
Titans are terrible across the board. I mean, I cannot believe it I'm not gonna lie, Chad, when they got that early lead, I was like, you know what? Maybe they're gonna stay in this game with this Lions team. And then their special teams took the field. And you go, you know what? They're not just bad offensively, defensively. They might have the worst special teams in football as well. So Across the board, they're terrible. Who are they to be catching -3 against anybody? So I like that early grab of Patriots +3.
I was watching the Titans and then I watched a little bit of the Broncos and the Panthers. And I thought to myself, if you're Brian Callahan, if you're Dave Canales, it's Wednesday night, you're watching film for the 96th straight hour. How can you possibly find anything that you think gives your team an advantage against anybody else? They are completely overmatched in every area of the field. It's amazing.
Yeah. I just can't imagine being the GM of that team where it's you got rid of Vrabel, you got rid of AJ Brown, you got rid of Derrick Henry. Like you're going through this whole new rebuild these last three, four
Well, they got
years.
rid of the GM.
Yeah,
So
but that's what I mean though. Like
yeah,
everything though, just these last 3, 4 years. It's crazy to think they went from being that one seed to where they're at now, where they're at the bottom. Like they tried to spend money this offseason on their defense. Everywhere they spent money, none of that fixed any of their issues.
all right, who else you got? Because I got one more game to discuss.
All right, this isn't a bet for me. It's just an interesting line, obviously. Um, you know, you talked about that Jaguars team being horrible. Eagles are -7 against the Jaguars at home. That feels a bit rich to me. I
Yeah,
feel
it
like that
does.
number is going to come down. So I'll take the +7, but I don't feel great about it. I don't know if how much I want to invest again in this Jaguars team another week. Like Chad said, I felt like I got not that I got away with one today, but it does feel that way where I needed Trevor Lawrence to drive the field, give me a touchdown, and thank God he did.
What do we think of the Green Bay Packers as home underdogs against the Detroit Lions? The line's been going up. It was at 3.5. Now it's 4. Um, Give me your lean there.
We talked last week. I was all in on this was going to be an auto play on the Packers. Like
With
this,
Jordan
like
Love.
right. That's the issue right now is there's no Jordan Love. So I'm in no rush. You can grab Detroit now if you want that side, but I was always going to, no matter what, be on Green Bay in this spot. This is just I've been doing this long enough to know that teams like Detroit who have been incredibly hot, it's always different when you play your own division. Doesn't matter. You can beat up on everyone you want, even if you're beating up on the best teams in football. When you come back and play the crap of your own division, you struggle. Unfortunately for them, Green Bay is no crap. This is a really good team, a really well coached team that even if Jordan Love is out, all right. I mean, I'll adjust. Maybe it won't be one of my most confident bets, but I'm still gonna like them and the number. I just think as a whole team and the coaching is too, Green Bay is just going to be undervalued here to this Detroit team. That's just we talked about this is peak. This is as peak as you can get this season on any team. This
Yeah.
Detroit team in this matchup. So um, again, I we love Detroit here. We've been riding Detroit now for 4 or 5 weeks. They've been so good to us that's like the part of me that's eating at it where it's like you can't just betray him here, but we have to. This is such a spot to fade them. So I'll be able to break down this game more and figure out what's going on once I know what the news is with Jordan Love. But as we sit here right now, what do you think this number could get up to? You think it could get up to 6 if it is, a
I think
backup?
6 or 7 because I think everybody's going to come in on the Lions and nobody's going to want to back
Lions
Malik Willis.
outdoors too.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
Yeah. So
This
it's
is a wait, and on
God damn it, this
Thursday,
is probably going to be our big balls. I can
yeah,
already
this is a
tell.
wait, and on Thursday we're betting the Packers. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of what's going to happen at this
Yeah.
point. I'm trying to check the MVP odds right now. Jared Goff is still plus 700. Nothing's been updated.
Well, it's
He's
going to update because Lamar is going to drop. Obviously, he's
Yeah,
no
because right
longer
now
going to be the
Lamar's number
favorite.
1, Josh Allen 2, Mahomes 3, Goff 4. Goff had fewer than 100 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. The Lions
Mm.
basically won that game on special teams, like you said,
Yeah.
and running the ball. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery were both amazing. So,
Mm.
all right, the games that we pegged, like we feel strongest about, Buffalo -6, and I think the Rams plus 1.5. You took a little taste of the Giants. We'll take a little taste of the Raiders at 8.5. We don't mind the Pats as underdogs against the Titans. Everything else is a wait and see. It feels like to
Yeah.
me. Fair?
Yeah. Fair.
Fair. Okay.
Your approach, you're a constant pro for doing the show. If you would
Oh
have
my
just
God.
said I can't do this tonight, I totally would have understood. It would have
I
been
am
me.
in agony right now. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. And now, new Bet365 customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code FAVORITES. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Catch our next episode live Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern on Action Network's YouTube channel. We'll cover the whole NFL Week 9 board and announce our Week 8 contest winner. Until next time, download us on Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Love you.